Hello and welcome. I'm Prabhu Chawla. Welcome to my latest episode of Bottomline. Since elections are going on, so I will talk only about elections. And Kerala is my favorite state. It's lovely. Everybody wants to go there. So let's talk about Kerala because it has voted. So has Assam, but I will talk about Assam a little later. So I'd say Kerala has finally voted. And the numbers are coming in. They are staggering. Over 78.50% of Kerala 2.71 crore voters stepped out yesterday on Thursday. It's a figure that is already being cited as the second highest in the state's electoral history, surpassed only by historic 80.54% recorded in 1987. Every leader, every party spokesperson, every television anchor is now making the same claim that the highest turnout is a wave. And that wave is in their favor. The LDF says, the UDF says as well. Even the BJP says it, that we are influencing the election. But there is the question that none of them want you to ask. In Kerala's political history, does a high voter turnout actually throw government out? Because if you look at the data, and I mean the actual numbers, not the spin, the answer may surprise you if you look at minutely the every figure which I am going to present to you. There is a belief deeply embedded in Kerala's political folklore. The belief is this: high turnover favors the UDF, low turnover favors the LDF, or it goes against the incumbency. It is treated as the law of electoral physics in the state. And on the surface, it seems logical. The LDF has disciplined, organized cadre that turns out regardless of the mood or momentum in the election. The UDF, the argument goes on, depends on a broader move volatile coalition Congress voters, IUML voters, Kerala Congress voters, and when they are energized and angry, they show up in large numbers, throw the LDF out. So when the booths overflow, when the elderly and the young stand in the queue in the April heat, the assumption is the incumbents are in trouble. This is the narrative that every UDF leader has been repeating since Thursday evening. KPCC President Sunny Joseph has called it a wave. Panakkad Sadiq Ali Sahib Thangal has said he's certain the UDF will definitely come back to power. And across social media, the 98.30% or 50% is being processed as a referendum against the years of Pinarayi Vijayan's rule. But is it? Let us go back to the data, all the way back to 1987. That's the data I pulled out to bring out some kind of theory and political analysis. Let us go election by election. In 1987, Kerala recorded its highest ever voter turnout, 18.54%. By the conventional theory, that should have been a massive LDF victory. High turnout suggests anger against the incumbent UDF government at that time. And indeed it was. The LDF swept to power, E.K. Nayanar became chief minister, high turnout, ruling party thrown out, round one to the theory that high turnout throws out the incumbent. Then came 1991. Turnout dropped to 73.42%, significantly lower than 1987. The theory would predict a quieter election, perhaps an LDF retention. Instead, the UDF returned with 99 seats, one of the largest mandates in Kerala's history, crushing the LDF, which was reduced to just 40 seats. Lower turnout, ruling party thrown out again. The theory holds so far, but notice, it is not the turnout that decided it. It's the anti-incumbency against whosoever was in power. Then moved to 1996. Turnout dropped further to 71.16%, the lowest in this period, and the LDF won. Then 2001, turnout rose marginally to 72.47%, and the UDF won a remarkable 99 seats under A.K. Antony. In 2006, turnout dipped slightly to 72% and the LDF won 61 seats under V.S. Achyutanandan. Now comes the data that breaks the theory. In 2011, turnout rose to 75.12%, a clear jump from 2006. The UDF won 72 seats under Oman Chandi. So far, every election has seen the ruling party change. But then came 2016. Turnout rose again to 77.3%, even higher than 2011, and the LDF won a commanding 91 seats, with Pinarayi Vijayan becoming Chief Minister for the first time. High turnout, but no anti-incumbency swing. That was the message in that election. The UDF, which was the incumbent, was voted out. But that is not because turnout was high. It is because the UDF had governed poorly. That was the mandate against the sitting government. And then came the most remarkable result in Kerala's modern electoral history. In 2020-21, turnout stood at 74.06%, actually lower than 2016. And Pinarayi Vijayan, LDF, made history, retaining power in 99 seats, the first government in decades to win a second consecutive term in Kerala. Lower turnout than 2016, yet the ruling party wins by its largest ever margin. The theory is now in serious trouble. Now let's talk about 2026, which is not 2021. And this is where the analysis must be more careful, more precise. The 78.30 or 50% turnout is not just a number. It is a number with a context that complicates the standard readings of the electoral turnout. First, the Election Commission carried out a special intensive revision of electoral rolls before the election. Duplicate entries and entries had decreased voters were cleaned out of the rolls. Then that revision by its very nature mechanically inflates the turnout percentage because the denominator has changed. The total registered voters has been reduced. So some of the jump from 74% in 2021 to 78% in 2026 is administrative arithmetic, not political momentum. CPM State Secretary M.V. Govindan has made exactly the point, and he is not entirely wrong. Second, look at where the turnout is highest. Kozhikode led all the district at 81.2% to 6%. Palakkad crossed 80%. Mallapuram crossed 79.70%, with voter going up well into the night. These are districts north of Kerala, where the IUML has a strong consolidated base. High IUML turnout in Mallapuram and Kozhikode could be significant for the UDF. But is the counter reading also? CPM also has its strongest cadre networks in Kannur and parts of Kozhikode. In Kannur, factional tensions within the CPM are themselves a wild card. The same high turnout figure carries two entirely opposite political readings depending on which voter is representing whom. Third, and this is a factor that UDF deliberately chosen not to discuss, the BJP's arithmetic. BJP State President Rajiv Chandrasekhar did not predict a UDF wave. He predicted a hung assembly. The BJP's vote share has risen enormously from 6% 2011 to 12.4% in 2020-21. The rising BJP share has consistently come at the expense of UDF seats and not LDF seats, because it splits the anti-LDF vote in marginal constituencies. If the BJP's higher female voter participation, which its leaders are claiming today, materializes in seats in Thiruvananthapuram and Kollam, it does not help the UDF cross the line. It helps the LDF to survive once again. So, if turnout does not decide it, what does? In my reading of Keralam electoral history, three factors have consistently mattered for far more than political percentage. The first is the incumbent premium, or what I call incumbent penalty. In 2021, Pinarayi Vijayan converted 5 years of governance, his handling of the Nipah outbreak, the 2018 floods, and the pandemic into a re-election mandate. In 2026, the question is whether 10 years of LDF's governance has built a second premium or accumulated a fatigue tax that no amount of cadre mobilization can offset. And the sector factor is the credibility of the alternative. In 2011, Oman Chandi offered a compelling counter-narrative. In 2016, the UDF had no answer to V.S. Achuthanandan's moral authority. In 2016, V.D. Satishan has worked to rebuild the KPCC as a reform-oriented, younger alternative. Whether that image has penetrated beyond urban Kerala in the way Pinarayi's administrative image has penetrated into rural and suburban household, it is the central unanswered question so far. And third is the geography, not arithmetic. Statewide turnout figures are averages. Kerala is decided constituency by constituency in 140 different equations, local equations, with 140 different calculations about performance, personality, caste, community, and future. Over 78% turnout in Kozhikode does not move a seat in Kottayam. A wave in Mallapuram does not rescue a Congress candidate in Thrissur. What matters is whether the swing, if there is one, has happened in the right seats. A fair observer would say, "Hey Prabhu, you are being too cautious." Every serious psychologist looks at future in Kerala because it has historically signaled swing voter activation. When people who stayed at home in the last election come out, they tend to vote against the incumbent, which means the sitting government. That is the legitimate reading. I will not pretend otherwise, but raise my rebuttal. In 2021, 74.60% of Kerala voted had and gave Pinarayi a second chance, 1990 seat. This is not a narrow base vote. That is a broad, across the state endorsement for the UDF to win in 2026. It needs to reverse that verdict dramatically, not just in mood, but in the entire geography of Kerala. It needs to flip constituencies in central Kerala, in Ernakulam, in Thrissur, in Allappuzha, where the LDF majority has been particularly enriched. And consider this single historical fact. In 1987, when Kerala voted at 80.54%, the only time in the history the state has come close to today's 78.30%, then the LDF won. Not because of the turnout, because the UDF government of that time had exhausted its mandate. It was to vote against it. And there is an even earlier precedent in 1977. Kerala voted at nearly 80% and returned the incumbent with 111 seats. A continuity mandate, not a change mandate. The LDF will cite 1997. The UDF will cite 1987. Both will be selectively right. Both will be telling you what they hope, not what they know or what is going to actually happen on May 4 when the ballot boxes will be open. So, my bottom line today is this. Kerala's voters have spoken in large numbers, but large numbers do not speak in a single voice. History tells us clearly. Kerala has elected government and thrown them out at every level of turnout, high or low, across 4 decades and 10 elections. From the historic 80.54% of 1987 to 71.16% of 1996, from the landslide of 1991 to the historic retention of 2021, turnout has never been the deciding variable. What has decided Kerala every single time is a simpler calculation. Have the people had enough of who is in power? And do they believe the alternative better than the outgoing? On May 4th, when those ballot boxes are open, we'll have an answer. But until then, every leader who stands before a camera and tells you that the 79% proves that victory is not giving you analysis. 79% proves their victory is not giving you analysis. They are giving you hope, dressed up as arithmetic. And the bottom line never mistakes hope for data. Friends, that's all for today's bottom line. Kerala has voted. The verdict is sealed. We will analyze it together when counting begins on May 4th. Until then, we meet again. Watch this video, subscribe it, share it, and write your comments. Good or bad, sweet or sour, I will read them, but I won't get angry. Jai Hind.